Original perspectives on the day's unfolding narratives. See the bigger picture as it emerges. The Papers, tonight at 10:30 and 11:30 on the BBC News Channel.
Be moved by the magic of the BBC Proms. On what would have been the composer's 100th birthday, John Wilson conducts Leonard Bernstein's hit Broadway musical. Join us for On the Town, tonight at 7:30 on BBC 4 and Radio 3.
The Rugby League giants from Catalan Dragons and Warrington Wolves go head-to-head at Wembley in the Challenge Cup final. Live today at 2 on BBC One and BBC iPlayer.
I'm Annita McVeigh, live in Dublin. The headlines this hour. Pope Francis has arrived in Ireland for the first papal visit in almost 40 years. The Pope has been welcomed by the Irish President and a military guard of honour. He's expected to meet victims of clerical sex abuse later today. And this is the scene live in Dublin, where the Pope is set to deliver a speech soon. Pope Francis is planting an Irish oak tree near the spot where John Paul II planted a tree on his visit to Ireland in 1979, accompanied there by the Irish President at his official residence in Phoenix Park in the city. We'll bring you full coverage of the Pope's visit throughout the weekend.
And I'm Shaun in London. The other headlines at midday. Women in England are to be allowed to take the second of 2 early abortion pills in their own homes instead of in a clinic. Holidaymakers arrive home after being flown back early from an Egyptian hotel following the unexplained deaths of a British couple. Thousands of Rohingya Muslim refugees have taken part in a demonstration to mark exactly 1 year since their exodus from Myanmar began following a military crackdown there. The family of Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, a British-Iranian woman imprisoned in Iran on spying charges, are fighting for her 3-day temporary release, which ends today, to be extended.
It's always been sort of steps forwards and steps back, so I shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves. But hopefully it'll be a good day today and a good day tomorrow.
And later we'll be visiting America's first sustainable solar-powered town and going down under to see how technology is being used to protect the world's largest coral collection of the Great Barrier Reef. That's in Click at 12:30.
Hello and welcome to Dublin Castle as Pope Francis begins his two-day visit to Ireland, the first visit by a pope to the country for nearly 40 years. 1979, John Paul II, that was the last time we had a papal visit to Ireland. Pope Francis arrived at Dublin Airport a little earlier. He was greeted by archbishops, by a government representative, the Deputy Prime Minister, and he's now at the residence of the Irish President, Michael Higgins, Áras an Uachtaráin, in Dublin's Phoenix Park. Pope Francis, in the last few moments, planting an Irish oak tree near the spot where John Paul II planted a tree almost 4 decades ago. Well, this is a visit that is going to be dominated by serious questions that Pope Francis has to answer. Whether he will answer those questions in terms of what the Church is going to do to deal